The other day, I was talking to my sister about confidence, and my sister especially um, greatly benefits from the fact that she has the ability to appear confident because of her job, because she works with people. She is highly esteemed, socially speaking. So I think this is an important topic for most people. Embarrassment, right? Embarrassment is primarily the one thing that tends to stand in a place of um, confidence. Embarrassment is nothing else than a cover emotion as well as shame. But shame and guilt are not the same. Shame has a lot more to do with passively judging yourself, uh, preemptively more so, whereas guilt is it usually has to do with an already carried out action. Uh, Needless to say, there is nothing you should be embarrassed about. Like literally, I personally have been through a life that required me in a way to kind of protect myself from the people in my life, since as a child you do anything you can to stay safe and stay as comfortable as possible where I was, because this is human nature. Comfort is human nature. So as a child you do anything to literally just get by and survive. Unfortunately, everyone has been a child. So if you have parents, if you've grown up with your parents and you've taught you've been taught certain things, then don't just take it for granted. Look, confidence is innate. It's basically unchangeable. It's an inborn state that belongs to you. The only thing that can give you the appearance of your lacking confidence is, again, anything that has to do with shame or embarrassment and so on. But it's only a subjective illusion. So when you're in a perceptual reality, because for example you've been abused, the only thing you see is people judging you, and as a result you become even more protective of yourself, meaning you tend to get even more emotional about the situation and more involved with sometimes getting offended, sometimes just getting defensive, but the two go hand in hand usually. So when you don't rely solely on trying to impress others when you go through life, but you instead try to look at things from an objective perspective, your self-respect stays within your presence, within your aura. So people don't really have a chance to disrespect you either. How can you not respect someone who respects themselves? Like, it's impossible. I mean, you can try, but taking on an energy is always a choice, ultimately. So look at yourself from an objective perspective, from a bird's eye view. There's this book I've read from Tilswan. She has written a chapter on worry in the book Anatomy of Loneliness, I think. that's the title. But there was this chapter about worry and shame and fear. Methods that could work is looking at things from a bird's eye view. So look at yourself like a stranger alien, not a vulnerable peer. The other day, I don't know, I just have this anxiety usually around ticket inspectors. I don't know why. Maybe it's because I've had terrible experiences with them and got in quote unquote trouble with them multiple times. But trouble, I only mean like I had to pay a fee, for example. So the other day, I just lost my cash, unfortunately, and I didn't find it. But I, I think my higher self made me do that so that I could learn still from the situation, and I did. What I did learn was that by detaching from my personal experience, even that which belongs to the past, and even that which belongs to a version of me that I have associated with quote unquote supposed to, have to, or should, or something that people tend to do when they are in specific types of situations. So what I learned is that humility, along with detachment from yourself and your emotions, labeling your emotions but not judging them, and just being completely present in a moment, is what solves your very momentary self-respect, or the lack thereof. It resolves the whole situation because when you respect yourself, I literally, I was watching this scene after I have managed to keep looking at myself from bird's eye view, and I kept telling to myself, this is your emotion, it's not you. This is not you, this is just emotion. This is not you, this is just emotion of fear, blah blah blah, etc. You can replace anything you want here. So you can replace fear with anger, pain, whatever. You can label it, and then you can be consciously present in that moment with it, no matter how terrifying the situation may be. Like, also ask yourself, how will this matter 5 minutes from now? How will this matter 5 hours from now? How will this matter 5 days from now, 5 years, 5 decades, and so on? And this is the deathbed method. So how will this matter later in life? So I was watching this scene after I have managed to keep my cool in that situation of the ticket inspector realizing that, I was traveling without a ticket, and I just got into a difficult situation. So this person I was watching get off the train literally before me because he didn't, one, look a certain way, supposedly, and two, because he didn't have a ticket. Now, mind you, I am the type of person who always wants to do and really just seeks to do the right thing, no matter how it feels. But obviously, it's best when it feels good. But doing the wrong thing that you know is the wrong thing just because it feels right, or feels good. Sorry, I'm not the type of person anymore. I used to challenge my limits for the sake of just proving to myself, like a rebellious teenager, that okay, I can still survive this. This can still be good. But nowadays, I just tend to and try to look at things as objectively as possible. And this has really helped me. So I watched this guy get off the train. I'm not sure why the ticket inspector kind of judged us like differently, but I am pretty sure that the guy that just got off before my eyes, whereas I was actually kept on the train, um, even though I did want to get off. This guy looked terrified, so he looked and felt terrified, but look, effort always pays off. So discipline always pays off, no matter how small the effort. Just being present with yourself and not trying to distract yourself as much, or reverting into the past, or just getting consumed by thoughts in your head that are not your thoughts. Just being present really does help. So self-awareness is basically about looking at things objectively, and that really helps for you to look at yourself objectively, because whatever you may feel embarrassed about, that's just a coping mechanism that you developed in the past, as a means to avoid confrontation, right? But you judging yourself in that way inevitably carries with it the consequence of strangers judging you the same way, because strangers are good, right? The beauty about an increasing number of people around the globe is that there are more and more strangers you come into contact with. Like, inevitably, we no longer live in tribes or communities. There are governments, there are interactions that take place daily, whether you want it or not. If you just get out of your house, you most likely meet at least one stranger on your way. And that stranger holds an energetic vibration just like you. So you come into contact with them, you get to interact with them, and then what happens? You get to be perceived by them in a certain way. And how you get perceived by them depends so much on you. Why? Because your world, everything and anything you see, is only your perception. Everything that you literally get to experience, like or dislike about and in your life, has to do with yourself only. Because it's your perception, it's your subjective truth. So look at yourself objectively. At the same time, I told my sister when we had this conversation, I know this person. I really just, I feel like this person who I've known from my past, this person kind of has gone in a direction that people, especially strangers, and especially himself, tends to even subconsciously judge himself upon. But if I understand that person from an outsider's perspective, since I'm not him, and I have compassion for him, and I can see and look at um, him in a way that is genuinely just non-judgmental, because I see his truth, I see where he's coming from, and I see that his soul is quote unquote pure, and I see the good in him, I see the goodwill, I see the trials, the errors. I basically see and understand his life decisions. If I can stand, like, if I can look at him standing in a certain environment without judgment as such, or I can even imagine him standing there, why can I look at myself that way? For example, when I'm standing in a restaurant and I'm ordering food, I'm thinking about, oh my God, what does this person think about me? But hey, that person is only a subjective truth for themselves. So they only, yeah, they may be gods because they are energetically close to God, to source, just like you. But at the end of the day, they are also not gods. So they are also just people. They are also just, people who have had childhoods, traumas. If anything, they may be more lacking of self-awareness than you. Why? Because the more compassionate you are, the more you can prove to yourself that you have a reason to understand and attune to people and their emotions and feelings, and just understand the person more. And that is such a beautiful thing, because then self-awareness is kind of an like such an organic part of you, and that is the solution for these types of interactions. Like if you stand in a place where you feel kind of intimidated by the surroundings, by anything, then you could just look at yourself and, okay, what is good about this situation? What is positive? What works here? And what doesn't even matter? Like, does this person judging me influence my survival? Like, does this even matter? Or how can I be grateful for this person standing in front of me? Or how can I be compassionate towards myself standing in this environment? Like, how can I look at myself in a way that I am able to look at other people in other situations with compassion? Like, if he did that, if he survived that, if he likes himself like that, why can I like myself in my discomfort? Look, discomfort is not the enemy. It's not the enemy anymore, because it doesn't influence your survival. Your survival, to put it simply, depends on your health. And your health depends on your eating habits. It depends on your ability to attune to your emotions and intuition. So since you cannot suppress your intuition, it's really only up to you to either listen to it or ignore it.